Think about your day so far. You've probably looked at your phone, maybe listened to a podcast, or scrolled through social media. It's everywhere, right? The sea of media, it shapes everything about our world. But have you ever stopped to think about how this whole information universe was actually built?
Well, that is the exact question we're going to dig into. We're going to trace the entire story, from the very first kind of mass media, all the way to the digital world we're all swimming in today. And we'll uncover the revolutions that changed absolutely everything.
All right, so our story begins with the first great leap. This is the one that yanked information out of the hands of a powerful few and started putting it into the hands of, well, everybody. We're talking about the print age.
Now here's the common misconception, that Johannes Gutenberg invented printing. But that's not quite right. The key ideas like movable type had actually been around for centuries, especially in East Asia. Gutenberg's true genius was that he combined all these different parts into a revolutionary system that made printing incredibly fast and efficient.
And just how revolutionary was it? Get a load of this number. In just the first 50 years after Gutenberg's press was introduced, 20 million books were printed in Europe. To put that in perspective, the entire population of Europe at the time was only 78 million. This wasn't just a step forward. It was an information explosion that would go on to fuel massive movements, like the Reformation and the Scientific Revolution. And this revolution didn't just stop with books. The technology quickly evolved, and that gave us newspapers. It started kind of small in 1690, but by 1784 it was already a daily habit. The real game changer, though, came in 1833 with the penny paper, which finally made news affordable for pretty much everyone. The last piece of the puzzle was speed. By 1848, the Associated Press was using the brand new telegraph to share stories almost instantly.
But print was just the beginning. The next revolution was about to add two powerful new dimensions to how we communicate: sound and moving pictures. So let's welcome the audio-visual age.
The journey here actually began with the telegraph, being able to send coded dots and dashes over wires. That was incredible. But the real challenge, the next frontier, was sending the human voice itself, but without any wires. And solving that puzzle, well, that's what gave us radio, the first true broadcast medium that could send speech and music right through the air. After radio came television, and boy, did it dominate. During TV's golden age, from the 1950s all the way through the 80s, the media world was incredibly concentrated. Just 3 networks, you know them, NBC, CBS, and ABC, captured a staggering 95% of the primetime audience. This created this powerful shared national experience. For decades, almost everyone was watching the same shows and hearing the same news.
But that shared experience, where everyone was on the same page, it was about to be fractured into a million little pieces by the most rapid and disruptive transformation we've ever seen: the digital age.
So what makes the digital revolution so different? Well, unlike all the media that came before, which was based on physical things like paper or film, all digital media is built from the exact same thing: binary code, just ones and zeros. And thanks to things like microprocessors and fiber optic cables, this code could suddenly be sent all around the world at the speed of light. And that's what made the internet possible.
But the internet was really just a network of computers. It took one man, Tim Berners-Lee, to turn it into the World Wide Web that we use every day. He built the 3 pillars we still rely on: HTTP, which lets pages link to each other; HTML, the language for actually building the pages, and the very first browser so we could navigate it all. And the best part? He gave these inventions to the world for free, sparking an absolute explosion of creativity.
Okay, so we've covered the how, the 3 great revolutions that built our media world. But that brings up an even bigger question. What is all this technology actually for? What's its purpose in our society? Fundamentally, media really serves 5 core human needs. First, there's information. We just want to know what's going on. Then there's interpretation, which helps us make sense of it all. Media can be instructive, teaching us something new. It also provides bonding, creating shared experiences, like when we all watch the Olympics together. And of course, there's diversion, just pure entertainment and a way to relax. But wait, who decides what information we get, or which interpretations are offered? That brings us to a really powerful idea for understanding how media truly works: the role of the gatekeeper. It's a simple but really effective metaphor. Imagine every media outlet, from a huge news network to a small blog, is standing at a gate. They get to control the flow of information, deciding which stories and which voices get to pass through to the public and which ones get left behind. So the official term is gatekeeping. It's the whole process of filtering information before it's sent out. And to be fair, it has to happen. It's impossible to report on everything all the time. So the real question isn't if it's happening, but how is that filtering being done?
Gatekeeping isn't just one single action. It's really four. A gatekeeper can simply relay a message, just passing it along. They can limit it by editing things out. They can expand on it, adding more context or research. And finally, they can reinterpret it, which means translating complex ideas into something that a much broader audience can understand.
So we've got these incredible technologies performing these core jobs, all managed by gatekeepers. This leads us to the final and most crucial piece of the puzzle. How does all of this actually affect us?
Early on, researchers had a very simple and frankly a pretty scary idea. It was called the hypodermic needle theory. They basically believed that media messages were like a drug, injected directly into the minds of a passive, helpless audience, who would then just react in totally predictable ways.
Yeah, we now know that's not how it works at all. Reality is so much more complex. We are not passive receivers. Instead, today's researchers talk about a negotiated meaning. We are active participants. We filter every single message through our own beliefs, our experiences, our social circles. It's why two people can watch the exact same news report and come away with completely different conclusions. The media doesn't just tell us what to think, it tells us what to think about. And then we decide what it all means to us.
So, after this whole journey, the final question is really about you. We know how media has evolved, we know that gatekeepers are filtering what we see, and we know that we're the ones who ultimately create the meaning from it all. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Who controls the gates to your world, and how are you choosing to interpret the messages they let through?